Hey guys, it's Mathematics YT. Today we are going to solve some simultaneous linear equation by using the graphical methods. Yes, we are trying to solve this simultaneous linear equation by plotting the graph. And as always, if you guys are interested in this video, please pause the video and try it for yourself. So before we are going to solve this following simultaneous linear equation, let's talk about what kind of solution that we can get. Now, in simultaneous linear equation, by using graphical method, we actually can get three possible solution, which is unique solution, no solution, and infinite solution. Now, what is unique solution? Unique solution means the only one set of the solution x and y can satisfy both equations, which means that in order to have if you have a value of x and y, that is only that set of value of x and y can satisfy the simultaneous linear equation, which means that we get a unique solution. And let's move forward to the no solution. Now, what is no solution? No solution, which means they are not intersect. Yes, they are not intersect, which is the lines are parallel, because when you have two lines and then one of the line is just slightly not parallel to this line, and then what you will eventually, these two lines will eventually intersect if these two lines are slightly almost parallel. So if two lines are parallel in the graph, which means that these two linear equation they cannot get any solution as they don't intersect. Now let's go on to the third part, infinite solution. Now, for infinite solution, it happens when we have two linear equations that is exactly equal to each other, which means that when we plot the graph, these two equal equations, we will actually get the same straight line, which means we can have infinite solution, because these are intersected is the case, but these are the overlap lines, because I have the same equation of straight line. Then the green one, the first one, I plot it right here, and then the orange one, the second equation, is also equal to green one, also plotted right here. So any point that is overlap, that is under this overlap straight line, is the possible solution for the simultaneous linear equation. And there is a way to determine what kind of solution that we can get. Now, if you have studied about the equation of straight line, then these things is really easy to understand. Now, how to determine? Now, the first step is express all the linear function in form of y is equal to mx plus d, and I will let y is equal to m1x plus c1 and y equal to m2x plus c2. Well, this m means gradient, which is the steepness of the straight line, and these two are the y-intercept. If you have studied that the linear equation of straight line y is equal to mx plus d, then I think that this is pretty easy to understand. Now let's check out this condition. Now if m1 is not equal to m2, unique solution occurred. Why? As I tell you, unique solution occurs when they are intersect. So in order to make them intersect, the gradient must be not equal. Unlike this, when we plot the line that is parallel, which we can get no solution. And that is exactly this statement, m1 is equal to m2, if you study about maths coordinate geometry. And the third one is, I think, is pretty simple to understand. If the equation 1 and equation 2 is exactly the same, which means that m1x plus c1, this is the first equation, and y is also equal to m1x plus c1. If the equation 1 and equation 2 is exactly equal, then infinite solution occur. All of these things is using some logic to think. And then let's jump to solve the simultaneous linear equation. Let's go into the question now. The first question I have 3x plus 4y is equal to 5, x plus 2y is equal to 3. Now, solving this thing is pretty simple by using substitution and elimination method, and it is pretty common for you because in graphical method you have all the x and y axis. If you learn about the graphical method, then you should know that this x and y is actually represent the axis, and it is quite troublesome for the question 2, but I will talk about the question 2 later. But let's solve it using graphical method. Now when we solving using graphical method, we must use graph to plot and find the intersection. Now, so for these two equation, how can we plot the graph? We can find the value of x and y intercept. And how do we going to find? Now, for y intercept, you must substitute x is equal to 0, and for x intercept, you have to let f of x is equal to 0. This don't be confused. Don't be confused. This f0 which means that you substitute the value of x to 0 and then you solve for y, then you can get a y-intercept. And for x-intercept, you must let f of x is equal to 0. And when we talk about graph, we must talk about functions, right? And when I having these two things combined together, well, if you also read the coordinate geometry, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yes, the intercept form of the linear function. This is the intercept form of a linear function where a and b must not equal to 0. Now, where a and b is equal to where a and b is equal to 0, which means that the line intersect through origin. This is the line intersect through origin. When a is equal to 0, b is equal to 0, the line intersect, the line draw across origin. And when you have a line that is drawing across the origin, you cannot use intercept form, because as I told you, when it across origin, a is equal to 0, b is equal to 0, then you need to substitute, then it is not acceptable. And then there's a proof. So let's say y is equal to 3x, and then I want to express in this form, and so I will let negative 3x plus y is equal to 0, because I need to have the x and y. And then this is the stupid action by divide by 0. This, don't do this, because 0 cannot be divisible by itself. It does not divisible, and this is what it calls the intermediate operation, where the operation is inconclusive, because 0 over 0, it can be equal to 0, or 1 or any other number by using a lot of ways to make it become 0 over 0. So for the line that is intersect through origin, you cannot use the intercept form, but you can determine it by when the c is equal to 0. So when you see the c is equal to 0, when you see the c is equal to 0, then which means that you cannot use the intercept form, because when you want to transform it, convert it into intercept form, you will meet an intermediate operation. And now let's jump into the question. We need to jump into the question right now. 3x plus 4y is equal to 5. X plus 2y is equal to 3. When you plot this to graph, means we can see that this the equation, it has different gradient, which means that I have created a unique solution. And here's the graph. And don't mind this, I just draw this wrong, so I just use the pencil to erase it now. Can you see the function? 3x plus 4y is equal to 5. I use this green marker to write the function or equation of straight line, and I plot this using the same color of permanent marker pen, and so this orange color too. So when I intersect, I plot at x and I drop a 2, then which I can get -1 and 2, and where the coordinate is represented x comma y. Yes, x comma y. So the coordinate is represented in form of a x comma y, because I have an x-axis and I have a y-axis, which means that I can conclude that x is equal to -1 and y is equal to 2. So when you plot a graph, it's really direct, it's really straightforward to tell you where the intersection is, and you can just directly get the solution. So the solution for this equation is x is equal to -1 and y is equal to 2. And let's see the answer is correct. -3 plus 8, yeah, that's 5. -1 plus 4, that's 3. So this is the unique solution on this graph, because it intersects. When they intersect, these two simultaneous linear equation, they are always equal to each other. And let's jump into the second question. So the question 2 is, yeah, we know that in a Cartesian coordinate plane, we know that here is the x-axis, here is the y-axis, so I have the x and y here, but I have a and b. So how I am going to interpret it in graph? Well, don't worry, this alphabet can actually change, and you are going to apply this statement when you are learning linear law. So what does linear law say? Linear law say that an equation of a curve, it can be expressed linearly in form of capital Y is equal to m capital X plus C, where m and C need to be constant, and capital Y and capital X need to be variable. And the capital Y and capital X, it means that these are not the ordinary capital Y and X. It can be the other form of Y and X. So if I plot this graph, let's say I want to represent the B as the y-axis, and I will represent A as the x-axis. And here's what I get after I plot the graph. As usual, the orange line represents this function, and this green line also represents this function. And then when you expressed in form y is equal to mx plus c, you can get different gradient, which means that you will meet an unique solution. And when you use graphical method to solve this thing, we can actually see that the line intersect, and it intersects at the coordinate 2, -2. Now be careful of this. Okay, when I have in the Cartesian coordinate plane, when I have the x-axis and y-axis, then the coordinate is represented in form of x, y. Now what about a and b? Yes, it has also the same idea. So the coordinate also is represented in form of a, b. When you represent b as the y-axis, you represent a as x-axis, and you can just change this thing. You can just like let a represents y-axis, b represents b-axis, so don't get your question wrong. And if you change that, you need to be careful, because when you swap these two alphabet, the coordinate is represented in form of b, a, so you need to be very careful. So from this straightforward graphical method, what I can conclude is the value of a and b. So what is the value of a? 2. A is equal to 2 and b is equal to -2. So, and here we have, I will also solve this simultaneous linear equation, and it is not easy to plot this, because to plot this thing you have to make things very accurate, so that you can get the exact solution as you want to try by using substitution and elimination method. Well, you also want to test this thing out. So 3 times 2 6, -2 that's 4, and 2 times 2 that's 4, then -2 for 4 plus 2 is equal to 6, which means that a is equal to 2, b is equal to -2. That's a final deal. And yes, we have 2 unique solutions, as the gradient does not equal to each other. And if you want to see in the next video, I'm going to upload about another geometric solving series, so be sure to leave a like on this video, and I will see you guys next time in the geometric solving video.